race just formed together, made for elevation. I'm a soldier, won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath when they pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. We're rising up, rising up, we're rising up, rising up, we're rising up. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us.
And welcome everyone to another episode of Straight Talk with Joe Villano. I am glad you are all here. Let's lower this down a little bit. It almost looks like I'm screaming at you guys there. Alrighty. Well, let's see. Maybe lower a little bit. There we go. That looks a little bit better. So, welcome back. I feel like I haven't been here in forever. I feel like it's just, is there no sound? You guys can hear me now, right? Can you guys hear me? Let's higher this up a little bit. There we go. How about now? So it feels like I haven't been here forever. I had a wonderful time down in Florida. It was a great time. Sad that unfortunately, well, I don't want to say that. I'm sad I'm back because the weather was 84 and perfect down there. So, and compared to what it is up here. So, but we are back. We have work to do. We are back out on trying to. I'm going to try to make. Can everyone hear me, or is my mother the only one that's having a hard time? Because I seem to be perfectly fine on my side here. So, okay. Well, there you go. But we still have work to do. Emily sent me an email. I did not see one from Emily, but I'm going to go and look. So, because I do not want to miss one of her emails. Oh, there she is. Oh, no, she sent me that 10 days ago. We'll read that in a second. But obviously, we still have work to do, so let's get back to our basics here. Obviously, I am Joe Villano. I'm your host, your guiding light through what, again, is going to be absolute chaos over the next 2 years. We're going to talk about what Republicans are going to do in a federal level and what we can do on a state level. and prepare ourselves for, again, the next 2 years of, as you can see, apparently now it's okay to talk about these things now that the election's over. You know, now if anyone's been reading the paper or reading the headlines, all of a sudden now it's okay to talk about heating oil costs that have gone up 72%, in some places 100%. It's okay now to talk about utility costs going up 50% come January 1st. So now that the election is over, it's okay for Democrats and the media like the RJ to now start running articles about what we've been talking about for the last 6 months. We've been talking about it for the last 6 months, and they refused to talk about it. But now that the election is over, it's okay. Let the people know. It's absolutely craziness. But again, this is what happens when you have uninformed people voting. And it's unfortunate, but that's the way it is. And if you think you can get any help from the media, people like the RJ is a friggin' joke. They're just in the pockets of the Democrats. Because they would have run these stories and well, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Obviously, this show always works best when you guys are involved. So if you want to call in 203-679-9610, or you can email us straighttalkjv@gmail.com, or of course, you could always turn around and jump on the message board if you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and all those other social media platforms. You could jump in on the message board. But, we always talk about elections have consequences, and these are them. These are them. And you look at the RJ's article today by Mike Gagney. Heating costs, concerns on the rise. What do you mean on the rise? They've been at full alarm blaze since 3 months ago when we've been talking about it. And we've been talking about how the assistance program is nowhere near where it needs to be right now. When you look at what is needed in the public. And now all of a sudden that everybody's up in arms about it, like it's some kind of new news that they never heard of. We've been talking about this for months. But now, I guess it's okay for the Record Journal to turn around and actually run a story on it. And of course, during this whole thing, all they do is go and talk to Democrat representatives about, oh, what are you doing to help out? You're not doing shit to help out. That's the problem. They don't care. Republicans, like we've been stating, Republicans have been trying to get a special session to use some of that $400 million to give to the heating assistance program. Right now, it's only funded up to $120 million. We used $139 last year, and prices were a lot lower. We're estimated to use $200 million this year. You went from 80,000 participants in the heating assistance program up to over 102,000. We've been screaming at the rooftops about this. And we got nothing out of it. But now, like I said, election's over. It's okay to talk about these things now. It's okay to talk about how your fellow citizens are being taken advantage of and being screwed. But they're not alone. They're not alone because everyone saw, again, all of a sudden it's safe to say this now. And the state's going to say, oh, there's nothing we could do about it because, again, natural gas has gone through the roof. So now you have Eversource and the UI saying that your supply bills are going to double. That means your electricity and everything else is going to go up by over 50%. That's $85 a month. You go tell that to a senior that's on Social Security. You go talk to these low-income families who are barely struggling with with what's going on with inflation. You should have known this before Election Day. But again, if you were watching this show, you were informed. If you had your head in the sand and you went to the polls and just voted, oh, I'm a Democrat, gotta vote Democrat. I gotta do that. Can't vote for a Republican. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if we agree with them or not. This is what you get. And again, I'm trying to feel some sympathy for people, but then yet I also know that a lot of these people that are now going to be bitching and screaming at the top of their lungs about how expensive things are, and those people that didn't take the time to go and research what was going to happen or research their candidates, I have no sympathy for you. I have no sympathy. I'm not going to blame Eversource's CEO salary. Listen, his salary is what it is. His salary is what it is. I'm not going to sit there and talk about any private corporation's salaries. They are what they are. And maybe he's worth what he's getting paid. It's not his fault that our government has totally screwed us. It's not his fault that our president and his energy policy has driven natural gas prices through the roof. So we don't need to talk about the CEO of Eversource's salary. He gets paid what his chair with the board of members believe he should be paid. But see, this is what they want you to do. They want you to say, hey, look at that. Look at the Eversource's salaries. That's the problem. No, it's not the problem. It's not the problem at all. The problem is our energy policy. Why would he? Well, he is making enough. He's making what he's worth. Just like any other corporation. You're only as valuable as what the company says you're worth. It's not his fault that natural gas prices have almost doubled. It's not the CEO's fault. But see, this is what Democrats love to do. They want you to sit there and say, no, class warfare. Look at what that CEO is doing. How about what the government's doing or not doing to make us energy independent here at home so we don't have to worry about going overseas for natural gas? Who are you to say whether he's worth that or not, Sue? That's not your place. That's not your place. That's the problem. We all think that we could have say in private companies, or we should have a say in private companies. You don't. What you do have a say in is what your government is doing, because that's what voting is for. But to go pick on the CEO, it's not his fault. It's not his fault at all. And I'm not going to sit there and let anyone sit there and play this class warfare of, oh, well, since he's making millions of dollars a year, it must be his fault. He should give, okay, let's say this. Let's say, okay, the CEO is going to give up $5 million of his salary. And now, granted, I don't know what he makes, nor do I care, because it doesn't even matter in this discussion. Let's just say he'll cut his salary in half. Do you think that's going to fix the problem? Do you think that's going to fix the problem? His salary is not going up. Now, if stock shares go up, that's good for your 401k. That's great for your 401k. But that's not the question here. The problem that we're having right now, and what Eversource is saying, is that we need to sit there and purchase energy. And they purchase that on a 6-month basis, January 1st, July 1st. With the increase in natural gas, which is used to run a majority of all power plants, the supply side has to go up. And it's going up from $12 a kilowatt to $24 a kilowatt. Again, that is not the CEO's fault. But yet, that's exactly what the government wants you to say. Oh, well, look at what they're getting paid over there. It doesn't matter what his salary is. That is not what is causing this problem right now. His salary has been where it's been for years because that's what his contract says. So now we're talking about what's going on now. The only thing that has changed right now is the price of natural gas. And again, people could try to blame that on Putin all they want. We have the largest supply of natural gas right here in the United States that we are not taking advantage of. That is what's causing this issue. It has nothing to do with the CEO's salary. Who cares? Who cares if he got a nice big bonus or raise? That does not matter. That is like a minute amount when you talk about the overall policy of what's going on here. But again, Democrats are going to stick to that because that's the only thing they got to stick at. The only thing they have is to sit there and try to create this divide based on class warfare, on corporation greed. Now you sound like just your typical socialist Democrat. Next thing you know, you'll be telling me you want to socialize it all and you want government control of all of it. Is that where we're going next, Sue? And then you get to dictate what the bonus is and what the pay is? It's craziness to me. But again, we saw this coming and we warned about this. We warned about this for months. And like I said, now all of a sudden, the odd thing is, after the election, it's okay to talk about this now? Within a 1 year span, the heating oil costs have gone up 72%. And they think that giving $500 worth of heating oil to non-vulnerable residents and $600 to vulnerable residents, that's going to do anything? That's not even 100 gallons. That lasts you maybe 2 weeks. That's not, again, you're stuck on that CEO salary thing. That doesn't even matter in this equation. But you're going to be stuck on that because that's how your brain works as a Democrat. It's his fault. And since he's making so much money, we should talk about his salary. That's laughable. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But to think that $600 for vulnerable residents is going to be something that fixes this whole thing, that lasts them 2 weeks. That's less than 100 gallons of oil. I told you this is going to be a very tough year. And listen, and like I said, I usually try to help as many people out as I can when it comes out to energy assistance. But listen, I know many of my customers voted for what's happening here, and that's fine, but you're going to pay the consequences for that. We already gave a detailed plan on how to stop this. Yes, it does. Oh, stop it. And so anyone who does, absolutely, Republicans had a plan to fix this. Absolutely. One, Keystone Pipeline, back in action. Drilling on federal lands, back in action. Expanding, fracking, back in action. Yes, get us back to where we were under the Trump administration, where we were energy independent and you were happy to be paying $1.89 for a gallon of oil. That's where you want to be back at. And the CEO salary has nothing to do with that. ExxonMobil's salary has nothing to do with it. BP, Mobil, any of them. You pick any gas or oil company, And it has nothing, their salaries have nothing to do about it. It absolutely was intended for Americans. Where do you think that pipeline was going? It was going from Canada down to Louisiana. What are you talking about? That's exactly where it was going. That's exactly what it was intended for. It was to bring Canadian oil down here. Listen, you need to go and get caught up on all that. But we are in for a horrible, horrible winter season, especially if these prices keep going up and up and up. And I said this before, I feel extremely sorry for a lot of the seniors who I know didn't vote for this, who did not vote for this, and that are going to be getting the shaft. It is absolute craziness. But again, these kind of stories should have come out 2 weeks ago. And it's not like they didn't know about it. Because like I said, and then you got your energy bills. So it went up from 12 cents per kilowatt to 24. So an average of $84.85 per month, people are going to see increases on. And this is on the supply side. For UI, for my friends down in the New Haven area, you went from 11 cents per kilowatt to 22. It is absolutely astounding that the pitchforks haven't been out yet. It's crazy to me. But I'm telling you, the day is probably coming. Because inflation is not going anywhere. And the state, up at the state capitol, they have no intentions of giving you any of this money back to help you out. And for all those people that thought they were going to get free handouts of $1,000, you saw that went out the window too. That got cut down to $233. And trust me, you're not even going to get that. All these promises that were made are not going to happen. For all those who thought that you were going to get your student loans all paid off. Look how quickly Democrats are backing off of that now. Look how quickly they backed off of that. Do you know why? Because it was never going to happen. We said it right here. It was all a trick to get you to vote for them. Well, you're going to take away my student loans. Oh, thank you so much. And I said it was all a ruse. It was all because they knew exactly Republicans were going to stop it. They knew the courts were going to stop it. It had nothing to do with false promises either. They had no intention of it. No intention of it. This was all just a game to get the people, the uninformed people who just want free shit, to vote for them. That's all it was. They knew it was never going to pass. They knew it was illegal. But what they were able to do is say, look at us and what we're doing for you. We're keeping our promise. And then when the courts did stop it, they were like, oh, well, it's the evil Republicans that are stopping it. We're trying to help you out. The evil Republicans are trying to take away your free shit. They knew they couldn't do it. But there are enough dumb people out there that fell for it. And now they're going to be sitting there going, well, where's my 20,000? Where's my 10,000? You're getting none of it. You're getting none of it. If you sat there and filled out your application, it was for nothing. You're not going to see a dime of that because the whole time it's been illegal. And it was never going to pass. It was never meant to pass. It was just a way to get the uninformed to sit there and vote for them. That's it. So we'll be listening to those guys in the next couple weeks sit there and start complaining about that. But this is what people voted for. They would still, again, how anyone voted for a Democrat blows my mind. But again, this is what we got. And we got at least another 2 years of it. The question is, how do we get to these people? How do we get to them? Because listen, like I said, I've been looking at the numbers. It wasn't even the cities that were the issue. It really wasn't. Actually, we did pretty well here in Meriden. It was the suburbs. The suburbs that actually didn't come out. And if they did come out, they came out for Democrats, which was astounding to me. Because with everything going on, with inflation at 8.1, with food double, with again, energy prices we already knew was going up. It's mind-boggling to me. But you also need to remember all these people that endorse these people. You know, they're going to try to get a free pass. You know, next year, one of them is going to be sitting there going, oh, I'm unaffiliated. But yet, I endorsed people that wanted this. It's crazy. See, again, women's rights on abortion was a big thing. To me, it was mind-boggling because here we live in a state where it's already settled. Sean picked up on who it was. Listen, you're going to have people like Kevin Scarpati come out next year and sit there and say, I'm for the people. I'm for the people. And I'm unaffiliated. I don't go with any party. But yet, I only endorse Democrats. I only endorse Democrats. And I endorse Democrats that want tolls, that want to give your money away, that want to socialize everything. But yet I'm an independent. I'm unaffiliated. I say you're full of shit. And the curtain has been drawn back now. And again, it goes with a lot of people that endorse and support these kind of candidates and endorse these type of policies. Those you can't have it both ways. And then you're going to try to play the game. Oh, not me. I had nothing to do with it. Which is why next year is so important already. Next year is going to be extremely important. When we sit there and have our elections for our municipalities. Because just remember, those people that are on your city councils, on your town councils, who were they supporting? What policies were they supporting? And you got to hold them accountable. So, one of the biggest things we talked about during the campaign was crime and how violent crime was up. We also talked about how we were letting criminals, violent criminals, out of prison. And the thing is, we've been talking about this. We were talking about this for years, since Resco and the murder of the gentleman over at the gas station on East Main Street. And we said this early release, and now with them lowering these bonds and letting these people out when they're arrested, let's talk about Naugatuck. Naugatuck is a prime example of what's wrong with our justice system. You have this, you're not even a human to me. He's just a piece of you-know-what. Kills a 1-year-old baby. The guy's out with five different cases on him, from carjacking to assault on a police officer. He was just let out in June, the end of June. This guy should have been nowhere near the public. No matter a 1-year-old baby. But again, this is what our justice system has come to here in the state of Connecticut. And these are what the bond commissioners are doing. This guy should have never been on the streets at all. He should have been locked away. He has 5 current cases on him. I think he's a prime candidate to bring back the death penalty, which should have never gone away to begin with. But this is, again, these are the people that have been elected in this state. This is the type of stuff we're up against. And these things, again, this isn't anything new. These people have been out on the streets causing mayhem for years. And with crime on an uptick as much as it is, again, people apparently didn't care. People apparently did not care. It's funny, in Wallingford, there was a city councilman who does a lot of social media. And he tries to put out these things on social media as much as he can. And one of the people responded back to him and said, it can't really be that bad. It is that bad out there. It is that bad out there. And it's the juveniles that are doing most of it. But you're right, Lisa. Let's not ruin their lives. We could just ruin everybody else's lives. Or let's not keep harsh penalties on people like this prick who's out on 5 different cases where he should never even be near the public. But I don't even think term limits even matter right now, Dan. We need term elections for local, state, and federal. Listen, how much I agree with you, I don't even think that's the problem anymore, Dan. I really don't. I really don't even think that's the problem. If we really want to get down to the problem, I think the problem is you just have people that are uninformed. It doesn't matter who it is. I think Pennsylvania is a prime example of that. It doesn't even matter who's running anymore. It just matters, do you have a D or an R next to your name? That's it. I think the only way to solve this issue right here that we are having with uninformed voters is to take away the parties. I know that sounds crazy, right? We need to just turn around. So if you're running for office, you know what? You want to run, you run. There's no R, D, I, anything next to your name. You're just on the ballot. And let the people go out and research you to see where you are on things. Because it no longer matters. You could have someone who is medically incapable of doing the job. Fetterman is a prime example of that. There is no way he could do that job as a U.S. senator. But it didn't matter. It doesn't matter. He had a D next to his name. So therefore they went and voted for him. It's unfortunate. That is the state of our politics. That's how divided we have been. And that's just the reality of it today. And so the question is, how do you fix that problem? Again, it works on both sides. Because there are plenty of Republicans that will not vote for Democrats either. And it's a shame. So, again, it does work on both sides. But the only way to get rid of that is to do, I believe Wallingford does it, where you literally just put your name up and let people research you. Or if they know you, that's how they select. So to me, that's the only thing, that's the only way I see this changing. Getting rid of the two parties. Now, you can still have your town committees. You can still have your town committees. Because listen, at the end of the day, I mean, I do have conservative views, so I mean, I would align more with Republicans than I do Democrats. But Democrats don't have all horrible issues where some hardcore Republicans might have an issue with that I side on with Democrats. There are some things, especially with your far right, when it comes to religion and it comes to gay marriage and all that kind of stuff. I'm not with them on that. I'm more libertarian, where I just don't really care what you do with your life. As long as you're not hurting yourself or others, it's none of my business. It's none of anyone else's business. But if you talk to the far right, that's blasphemous to even say that. So, again, that's the only way. It's the only way we're ever going to solve this problem. Now, is it ever going to happen? I highly doubt it. Now, obviously, we could do some charter reform, which is a lot of work. Because, again, I still think that we, in the city of Meriden at least, should have a strong mayor. I know some people are against that. Some councilors, even on the Republican side, are against that. But if you want to be able to make change quickly, having a strong mayor is the best way to do that. Because that is every 2 years, and you can change the way your government's running literally on a 2-year basis. Where if you try doing it through a council, it's literally going to take you a decade to get the change you need, which is 10 times harder. So charter reform is the best way and is the only way. So go ahead and do that. Again, so Alan, back to the point. How do you get to those millennials and the Gen Zs? Because we already know they've been indoctrinated and programmed by the education system, by the media, and so forth. But also, I won't blame it on the Gen Zs and the millennials, because the lowest amount of voters are the millennials and the Gen Zs. So these were the Gen X and the baby boomers that did this. So while I'm not going to blame the millennials and the Gen Zs for what happened this year, and yeah, it would be good to get a hold of them and to actually speak with them. But hopefully things like these podcasts is a way to get a hold of them. But time will tell on that. So obviously, the big news since I've been gone, obviously, Donald Trump announced he's going to be running for election, re-election for president in this year. I could literally, to be facetious, but you could basically almost hear the cheers from Fort Lauderdale, from West Palm Beach. It was that exciting down there. Now, what does that mean now? Now, obviously, the left they've had a hard on for Donald Trump, obviously, since the time he came down the escalator, and really had it for him since he got elected. Now, Donald Trump had a very good speech that night that he decided that he announced his candidacy for president. And if he could stay at that level, this entire process, this entire campaign, he's going to be unstoppable. And for any other Republican that's thinking about joining this race, really, you have no chance other than one person. Ron DeSantis is the only person that has any shot of taking Donald Trump out. Now, I strongly believe that Ron DeSantis is not going to run for president this year for a couple of reasons. One, he just got 82% of the vote down in Florida. 82%. That's friggin' unheard of. He won counties that you would never even imagine. Even Ronald Reagan didn't win those districts. And he won them. Miami-Dade, Broward County. I mean, those are two hardcore Democrat districts. He did unbelievable. So will he run for president and leave that with his mandate? No. I don't think they'll join forces. I think if Donald Trump was smart this time, he'd pick someone like Condoleezza Rice. That's who I would pick. A strong conservative that conservatives love. That the base could really get a nice steady hand. I think the people would absolutely love a Condoleezza Rice as vice president. Now, will that happen? I don't know. Tabby Giffords would be another one. You know, she was a huge Democrat. You know, Democrats just loved her. And she's come totally this way as far as the Republican side. Because she sees what the Democrats are doing. So Gabby, I think it would be an awesome choice. That will bring a lot of the independents and the unaffiliated and some of those soft Democrats over. But to take DeSantis, there's no point of having two of them. It doesn't serve him any well. Remember, he only picked Mike Pence because Mike Pence was an experienced lawmaker who had the respect of the conservative and the Republicans. That's the only reason why Mike Pence was selected. He doesn't have that issue anymore. People know he's gonna govern conservative. Look at the judges he put up. Look at the policies he put forth. So that isn't an issue anymore. So now the whole point is, again, his age is going to come into play because he is older. He's in his 80s. So it's going to come into play on who could you put in there that will have a steady hand and that is respected and knows a lot about the world. Who better than Condi Rice? Former Secretary of State, former National Security Advisor, friggin' brilliant woman. I think she'd be an ideal choice. Now, would she take it? I don't know. Because I don't know if she could do that with Trump. Yeah, you can sit there and say, get Trump nonsense. It's not nonsense. His policies were not nonsense. Now, again, is his rhetoric nonsense? Yeah, it can be. It can be. But no one could debate. No one could deny his policies were phenomenal. And while people may want to end the Trump nonsense, why? Because the media is telling you to? Because the media is telling you what a bad guy he is, but they've proven nothing? I mean, again, this is a guy who has been investigated not only for the 4 years he was president, but for the 2 years after being president. And they still have absolutely nothing on him. Nothing on him. I mean, are you kidding me? And you think Trump is nonsense? The fact that they go after him that hard should make you look at Donald Trump and say, what the hell does he do that scares them so much? And Trump does. Trump scares the crap out of Democrats. Because, again, He does not care about the parties. He cares about the American people, America first. And I tell you what, this country could use a lot of that right now. Could use a lot of that right now. They need America first. There's a story here. Where is it? That just came out. UN negotiators agree to pay climate reparations to poorer nations. Are you freaking kidding me? And let me read that again one more time, because then we're going to get into it. UN negotiators agree to pay climate reparations to poor nations. Do you know who will get some of that money? China. China is still technically a developing nation. They have the second largest economy in the world. They have the second largest military in the world. And they're a developing nation? And they'll get American dollars? Listen, we could talk about his idiotic tweets, and again, we would agree on those. But again, he got shit done. And he kept his promises. And this country thrived under him. I don't care about his tweets. I don't elect someone based on whether or not I'm going to like them as a person. I don't care. I don't care whether I like you as a person. I care about what are you going to do on behalf of the people of this country. That's all we should care about. And again, within 4 years, he got more accomplished in 4 years than most presidents do in 8 years. And he was impeached twice over nonsense that both of them failed. People should be looking at him and saying, again, what the hell do they fear so much for this guy? Because he can't be controlled. It's why we had no issues overseas, because he was basically the fuck around and find out. That's basically what his thoughts were. And again, it keeps those crazies all over the world in check. You think North Korea wanted to find out if Donald Trump was serious about obliterating them? Do you think Iran really wants to find out whether or not he's serious about taking their nuclear facilities out? Do you really think that other countries' terrorist groups really, really wanted to find out just how pissed off they were? Listen, you don't want to go up against someone like that, which is why everybody was kept in check. Russia, again, if Donald Trump was in office, I can say 100% Russia would have never invaded the Ukraine, without a doubt. And it's not that he was unpredictable. I think he was serious when he said it. I think he was 100% serious when he said it. Because they saw what Donald Trump did to ISIS. They saw what Donald Trump did in Libya. Listen, the crazies in this world do not respect a person like Joe Biden. They don't, because they know he's not going to do anything. You just had a bomb drop in Poland, killing two Polish citizens. Now, NATO should automatically have gotten involved in the war. But of course, what did President Biden say? We will protect every inch of our NATO allied countries. And now all of a sudden, they're all backing off. They all talk the big game. But they're all turning around and say, no, we don't want to get involved in this. No. If that was Donald Trump in there at that moment in time, I guarantee you we would have been in there already. It's just craziness. But again, That's what the media wants you to believe, that Donald Trump is unfit to be president. He is the best case to be president under the certain circumstances. Oh, we know whether or not those missiles were from Russia or not. Every missile that is shot off over there is tracked. Don't let anyone fool you. The CIA, NSA know absolutely whether or not that was a Ukraine missile or a Russian missile. Without a doubt. But this is where, again, this is the stuff we're at. So, hey, listen, you can hate Donald Trump for what he says. You can hate his personality. You can hate him as a person. To me, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I care about what the person is going to do. And like I said, we could use a little America first here. Instead of giving poor nations reparations for climate change, which again, isn't even man-made. And we can sit there and have that debate all day long. For billions of years, long before we have been here on this earth. You can look at you go to Antarctica, look at any of the core samples. And you can see all the differences in temperatures through the billions of years. This is all a money scheme. This is what it's always been about. It's all about money. What do you think money is going to do for these poor nations? What is giving them money going to do in regards to climate change? So I want one person to answer that for me right now. What is the United States giving money to poor nations over climate change? What is that going to prevent? Is it going to magically cool their atmosphere? Is it magically going to get rid of their floods or get rid of their droughts? No. No. It's just socializing. It's just taken from the rich, given to the poor. And many of these nations don't even have legitimate governments. Most of them are run by warlords. But yet they're going to get millions of dollars from the American people. But this is what happens when you get someone like a Joe Biden. This is what happens when you get a globalist. This is what happens when you get a globalist in the White House who really doesn't care about America. He cares more about the world and people liking him around the world, which we already know he's a laughingstock of the world. And the fact that China would actually be able to get money out of this program because they are technically a developing nation is an absolute joke. But those are the kind of policies that we're up against. And again, which is why I think Donald Trump will definitely win the election. Again, unless DeSantis decides he wants to run. If DeSantis decides he wants to run right now against Donald Trump, you will see a lot of people from the Donald Trump team go over to the Ron DeSantis team. I would probably say I'm one of them. Because Ron DeSantis is Donald Trump, minus what Dan said with all the idiotic comments. Again, do I see Ron DeSantis wanting to get into a slugging match with Donald Trump? I don't see it. It serves him no good. He could wait 4 years before he runs. So I definitely think that with Donald Trump, and I think that's why Donald Trump did it now. I think Donald Trump announced now, while it is still very early, because he wanted to make sure Ron DeSantis didn't run. If Ron DeSantis had come out and said it first, Donald Trump would have had a hard time coming out and doing it. because I think a lot of the people, even the Trump people, would have backed DeSantis either way. So I believe that's so. With people that say that Donald Trump did it too early, he did it too early for a reason. He was beating Ron DeSantis to the punch because that's his only competition. So again, so one thing I will say I'm mad about Donald Trump is Donald Trump's always been after my TikTok. And I almost find it a little bit laughable because, they keep saying that, obviously if people don't know, TikTok, which is a very popular app, it does short videos anywhere from 30 seconds to 3 minutes. And you can literally just post videos on about whatever at any time. In fact, we go live on this program. We go live on TikTok every once in a while. But what they've always been saying is TikTok is taking American citizens' information and storing it in Beijing. They're using it for this or that. But I always sit there and look at it and go, America does the same damn thing. So to sit there and say that we shouldn't be using TikTok because they're taking our information, they're using our information. America does it every friggin' day. Every phone call, every email you send, every text message you send is stored by the U.S. government. There are miles worth of friggin' underground friggin' servers in Utah that store this information every day. DeSantis would be a great. But so for them to sit there and say that TikTok, because it's from China, which again, I get, and they want to ban it, and Donald Trump wanted to ban it in America here, and now apparently the Democrats are out saying the same thing. And Senator Warner from he's a Democrat, was saying, "Hey, Trump was right. We need to sit there and ban this app." And I would say you're absolutely crazy. I'm totally against you taking away my TikTok app. I think it is a great app. And I don't think that they're doing anything that the U.S. government doesn't do on a daily basis also. And if we're worried about things being hacked, listen, America's going to hack theirs as much as they're going to hack ours. So either way, the people of the United States are screwed either way. So you might as well enjoy your apps, which means I'll sit there and enjoy my TikTok. So to say it's a major threat to Americans' privacy is, again, to me, is laughable at best, because the United States government, I would say, is the biggest threat to American privacy. Hands down. Because they do much more surveillance on the American public than any other country does. So, but to get back to a little local stuff, because I want to try to wrap up this election stuff, but there was still one race that was still going on when I left. And that was the 81st district race out of Southington. Did anyone hear about this? So this is a race versus Democrat Chris Palos. And he beat Republican Tom, where the hell was his name? Toni Morrison. He won after the recount was done. He won by one vote. The final total was 5,297 to 5,296 votes. And again, it's these type of races. Nikki Haley, please stop. As vice president, maybe? I hope that's what you meant. I hope you didn't mean her as president, Dan. Because she'd be no. Nice lady, good conservative. I would not be putting her as president. So when I sit there and say that every vote counts and we need to make sure everybody goes out and votes, people, this is a prime example of what we're talking about. This race came down to one vote. He won by one lousy vote. It was the only outstanding race that I knew of before I left for vacation. And to get back and to hear these numbers, And for every person that ever turned around to me and says, well, my vote doesn't count. My vote doesn't count. What does it matter? It matters. If you lived in Southington and you didn't go and vote, you're to blame for this loss. You're to blame. I hate to put it that bluntly. Especially if you're a Republican. If you're a Republican and didn't go vote, and you said, you know, what does it matter? My vote doesn't matter. Apparently it would have. And I hope that Republicans take this as a teachable moment. That every vote does count. And that you need to make sure you go out there and vote. Because one vote would have changed this entire outcome. Well, technically two. Because then they would have been tied with one. But again, teachable moment. I think this is historic. I've never heard of this ever happening before. That it actually ended by one vote. Early voting, we're not even going to get into that yet. Right now, Democrats are talking about a 3 to 5 day early voting. So you'd have 1 week of voting. I believe it passed. Again, most people didn't know what they were even looking at. They hear early voting, they're like, oh, I guess, why not? But I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you guys. Of course, downtown, for people in Meriden, obviously driving downtown is going to change a lot over the next couple of weeks as they start these new traffic patterns. I don't understand why we're doing this. For some reason, again, let's go back to the reason why they said this was going to be changed. They said it's going to bring more traffic downtown. It was going to bring more people to visit these local businesses downtown. And I'm going to say the same thing that I said before. You are out of your effing mind if you think that making two-way traffic, spending all this money to put new traffic lights up, to take out the barriers, to take out the mediums, is going to somehow bring business back to downtown. You're on crack. You're on as much crack as you were on when you said that putting affordable housing downtown was going to be the resurgence of downtown. I mean, you got to be out of your mind if you think this is what it's going to get. The more we can get people to come downtown, the better for businesses. No, I got an idea. Why don't you make it affordable downtown to do business? I got an idea. Why don't you make sure that there are people that can spend money downtown instead of just putting affordable housing? I mean, I can't believe that people are even saying this right now. The more we can get people to come downtown, the better for businesses, says Scarpati. Well, no crap. But there's going to be no businesses downtown at the rate we are going. At the rate we are going, there is going to be no downtown. But let's spend all this money. Now, for one thing, I will say this. At least they paved it. If nothing else out of this, nothing else comes out of this, at least we have paved roads. So I guess we have to take our wins with our losses, I guess. At least we got paved, nice, new, smooth roads until about maybe a month when they come start digging the shit back up. It is just mind-boggling to me. The thought process of these politicians, of these elected officials, when it comes to downtown. It is just absolutely crazy to me. Yeah, listen, and Dan, I feel for you, buddy. I don't know how you've dealt with the city council for 10 years. Maybe for the first 5 years I can understand it. The last 5 years, I don't know how you do it. I'd lose my mind. It's just absolutely crazy to me. But again, this is where we're at. This is what people voted for. So, you know, I hate to keep saying, I hate to sound like a broken record. Elections have consequences. Elections have consequences. Listen, I will agree with Scarpati on this, is that it is easier to drive it than it is to try to explain all the changes that have been made. You know, one way's going the other way now. One way is becoming two ways now. You know, who the hell knows? I still don't even understand it. And I've looked at that map 1,000 times, and I still can't. So it's just crazy to me. But again, you know, they're going to try to pull the wool over your eyes. This is great for businesses. This is going to do nothing for business. It's going to do nothing to bring business downtown. Because they're missing, as always, the grand scheme of things, that the thing that's stopping businesses from coming downtown is disposable income. And when you try to redevelop on low income, you cannot have good businesses down there. They're just not going to thrive. I did read the email. In fact, I'll read it here. So this was an email from Emily. So she says, "Hi, Joe. I'm your biggest fan, Emily. Obviously, wanted to pop in your email since I can't call in Sunday because I have a dance going on. What dance was going on? But just wanted to say that you should have won instead of Jen." All right, well, thank you very much. If I was old enough to vote, I would vote for Joe all the way. And I greatly appreciate that, sweetheart. My family voted for you. Can you please read this one of your shows Sunday? Thanks, bestie. Sent for, and of course, she sent it from her iPhone. So, Emily, always thank you for the kind words. And I know you are my biggest fan. And I thank you for your support. I thank everyone for their support. It was greatly appreciated. You know, we ran a good campaign. We did everything we thought we needed to do. At the end of the day, you know, certain things just didn't happen for us. For us, it happened to be Cheshire. And I think that's the same thing with George Logan. If Cheshire came out as it normally did, George Logan probably would have won. He only lost it by 2,000 votes. And we usually win Cheshire by 1,000 votes. So we would have ended up winning by almost 100 votes. So listen, it is what it is. We always respect the will of the voters. That is who they chose. The consequences come with those actions. And again, like I said, elections have consequences. We'll just sit here and continue to try to fight against the ridiculous policies that come out of them. But that's the best we could do. So it is what it is at this point. But we never give up the fight. And again, that was just one battle in the overall war. And the war is always continuing. So it is what it is. We will deal with it next year when it comes to municipals, where we'll try to do what we can here to get common sense conservatives and Republicans in the city council and maybe for mayor. So, you know, the great thing about this is that it's never over. And listen, when I tell you that there's no hope, that's when you should really start worrying. I'm never going to be there. So, you know, we got some coming. I have some things coming up that I'll discuss with you guys in the next couple of weeks. On my future plans, on things I have going on, and what I and a couple of people that I am working with are going to be doing. Try to do for the long term for conservatives in the state. So, you know, we'll talk about that more in the next couple of weeks as that progresses. Right now, there's 4 of us that are working on a plan for Connecticut. So, you know, we'll go from there. And we're people who are going to put our money where our mouth is, and we're going to do the best we can to help support conservatives. And I think there are a lot of ways we can do that. Like I said, my days of running for office are over. I have absolutely no desire to ever do it again. I gave my spiel multiple times over the years. And again, people could have voted for me and they're not voting for me. That's on them, whatever they want. But my days of doing that are over. I just don't have the energy for it anymore or the desire to do it anymore. But there are other ways I can help candidates that are willing to do it. So I just can't. I can't deal with the stupidity of voters anymore. To be completely honest, that's my own feeling. I believe we have a lot of stupid people in this state, and I'm gonna be pretty blunt going forward. Even though I already am, but again, we're gonna see the stupidity of them as the Democrat policies start to unfold right before us. And like I said, like I always say, me, I'm going to be perfectly fine. If I want out, I could get out. And again, this is never, me running for office has never been about me. It's about giving the people that don't have a voice. Like I said, I'm perfectly fine. And like, if I want to move to Florida, I can move to Florida. If I want to move to another town, I can move to another town. But what does that really solve? Nothing for the people that can't do that. And that's who I really feel bad for. I really feel bad for the people that can't get out of here or can't move, who feel stuck. That's who I've always felt bad for, and that's who I've always worked for. And again, I'll continue to do that. I'll continue to put my 2 cents in. I'm going to support candidates that I think are doing great things to push conservative views and to push Republican views. And again, I'll have more to come on that in the next couple of weeks as we start getting that stuff all put together. But until then, guys, I thank you always for coming here. Listen, we're going to be here every Sunday. So obviously the Thursday shows will go away until next election cycle. We usually about a month and a half before the election cycle will start up again on Thursdays. But until then, guys, I love each and every one of you. And again, I really thank you all for being here every single week. But until next week, again, God bless you and God bless this amazing country of ours, because it is the last stand for freedom and we can't take it for granted. And that means we need to do everything we can to preserve it. So until next week, guys, I love each and every one of you. Until then, I will see you later.
And the million faces formed together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender. Faith is like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak and believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath when you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder, magic, static. Call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance. You can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping in the shadows could be making history.